We are in Ogunquit, Maine, and we're going to show you the fun things you can do here. Our first stop is the Ogunquit Heritage Museum. This is a rustic local museum housed in an 18th century residence devoted to Ogunquit's heritage. Here are different paintings of Ogunquit by Don Corvette, and the one I especially like is this, because this is basically a reverse of that. This is the sign from the restaurant The Whistling Oyster, which is now called Barnacle Billy's. You can see it's the same building, just a different sign. Now it's a lobster. Here the walls are original. They look pretty cool. This room pays tribute to the lobstermen in Maine. And here's a campaign to save Maine lobstermen because Whole Foods stopped buying Maine lobsters since they thought the lobster industry was endangering the whales, but it's actually the cargo ships that are. This is an old lobster shack from Perkins Cove, and nowadays you don't see this, you just see souvenir shops. The Ogunquit Heritage Museum is a great free place to stop by, and now we're heading to the Perkins Cove walking tour, which is run by the museum. Our tour guide today is Amy Perkins, a descendant of the Perkins family that this cove is named after. At the top of that hill is where the first inn was in Ogunquit, and there was a highway that went from Portland all the way to Boston. This is the oldest building in Ogunquit, and it's owned by the Littlefield family, which owned from here all the way to the ocean.
Number 3, and look straight ahead at that gray building. Do you think it looks anything like it?
This
must be that building.
Oh, so that used to be the country shop.
That used to be number 3. It was called the Hawthorne Lodge.
We're in the Cove Garden, and we can see Perkins Cove over here. It was named after the Perkins family that owned a house over there where many big artists stayed. To allow bigger ships to come here, they dredged the cove to make it deeper and wider. And they did discover some gold, but no one got rich from it. It's just a lot of people moved to Ogunquit thinking they would become rich. This is a drawbridge, and even today, tall boats can use their remote to lift it up. There's a red siren thing on top to make sure people get off. I just wish... Oh wait, there's one coming! There's one coming! That was perfect timing. This was a chicken coop, and now it's the last art gallery in Perkins Cove. And that sucks because this used to be a hotspot for artists. This was a Coast Guard outpost communication center during World War II, and also the ships had guns to watch out for German submarines. Okay.
Originally, it was that tiny little house, and it was called the Island House because you couldn't get there unless you could walk when it was low tide.
This is the SS Crusher, and the art on here was done by 4th graders. Here you can see that it's used to crush ice during the winters.
Written in 1920. You ready? A Perkins runs the grocery store. A Perkins runs the bank. A Perkins puts the gasoline in everyone's tank. A Perkins sells you magazines. Another sells you fish. You have to go to Perkins's for anything you wish. You'll always find a Perkins, his fingers in your purse. And when I die, I think that I will ride a Perkins hearse. No doubt, there is a lot of truth in the above little verse. But it's a good bet that at the end, a Littlefield will drive the hearse.
Thank you, Miss Amy, for the tour. And that is the Perkins Cove walking tour.
I like learning about all the history of the area, and also the drawbridge was really cool. And we saw at the correct timing. It was so perfect.
I like how the person giving the tour was Amy Perkins, who was a descendant of the Perkins that the Perkins Cove was named after. So she had a really strong connection to the place. By taking the walking tour, you're also helping this museum restore their fireplace.
On to our next stop.
We're gonna walk the Marginal Way, which is around 1 mile each way. We're at Perkins Cove right now, and we're walking to the main town of Ogunquit. Here we can see some of the buildings at Perkins Cove, and during the winter, sometimes they have storms that will flood the top. Here we can see Ogunquit Beach and this little cove area here. There's many people because it's summer, and I think most of them are from Boston. This part seems really cool because there's a little land bridge that you can take to go all the way out there.
Can we go to the beach?
We're now at the Ogunquit Playhouse, and we're gonna watch Singing in the Rain. Founded in 1933, the Ogunquit Playhouse is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. We weren't able to film the musical, but it was really cool, and this is Immersion. So brother, what's your favorite one so far?
My favorite one so far is Moses Supposes, because it was really funny, because they kept singing tongue twisters.
And I liked the song Singing in the Rain, which is when they made the stage actually rain and the guy got wet and he was dancing in the rain. And that was after, I think that was after he fell in love with Kathy. So basically in this play, there's two actors. One is named Dawn, who's the main guy, and then one is named Lena, who is this person who looks good, but she cannot talk well because her voice is so high-pitched, and she also can't really sing or act. And at first, when there were silent films, it was fine because people didn't have to hear her voice. But then all of a sudden, Warner Brothers, who was the competing company, they started making talking films. So then Monumental Pictures, which was the company in this play, they had to adapt. And the problem was that Lena couldn't adapt well even after taking speech lessons. So their latest idea is to have Kathy, who's good at talking and singing, to dub for her.
Let's go in for Act 2.
And that is Singing in the Rain at the Ogunquit Playhouse.
My favorite part was when the rain came down, because I've never seen that before. And it's super cool.
You've never seen rain?
I've never seen it on stage.
Okay. I thought the end was pretty cool when they exposed Lena as a fraud, and also the actors were very good at singing. I was surprised at how good the production was because I didn't think that Ogunquit Maine would have something this great, but it turns out that they're actually a pretty big playhouse. They have many other plays and musicals for all different ages, and I think during Christmas time they have The Sound of Music.
See you in the next video. Bye!